Welcome to the Working Your Mojo show. So that you know what it's about, the Working Your Mojo show is about career inspiration. It is designed to show you a different way to live a life. It includes things like hybrid careers or people that have a slashy as part of their name, but it gives you different career paths and different options so that you can choose your own adventure. The second thing that it does is it creates an awesome playlist of songs that are motivating and inspirational so that when you're feeling like things aren't quite going where they need to go, this will just gear you up, get you excited about life. This interview is with Helen Chegwidden, who is a teacher slash artist. And I'm really excited to be talking to her because I literally have the most amazing friends in the entire world and wait until you hear all of the inspiration that she can provide. Helen has been one of my friends since high school, so we've been friends for quite a long time through the different variations and iterations that people go through. But there's been some themes throughout our relationship. Those themes are based in art and based in music, which music is part of art, so it probably is just art. But there's definitely been themes as we've kind of gone through our relationship. We're going to explore some of those a little bit today. Whereas I venture much more into the creative space of kind of more crafting things, sewing, knitting, etc. Helen's is much more in the true artistic sense of the word, and you'll get to see behind us in the video some of her amazing artwork. So you'll be able to see that there, and you go through. Somewhere behind me, there is a piece of artwork from Helen, which is quite magical. There's probably more than one piece somewhere. There's probably different bits and pieces around. I'm very lucky to be surrounded by her artwork. It inspires me every day. So I think you'll really enjoy learning a little bit about Helen and about her true slashy role, where she's a teacher, inspiring young children, and also an artist. I'm super excited to do this interview today because not only it is with one of my favourite besties, and I know I'm a weirdo, I have 3, but this is the bestie that I've had for the longest. And we have so much fun together, being creative and inspiring, hopefully each other, but she absolutely is, I'm going to get all emotional, she's absolutely an inspiration for me, which I think is a really good thing.
Stop it.
Set her off. So we'll be talking to Helen, who is a true slashy. So she's a teacher slash artist, and some of her artwork you can see around you. But she does more than paintings because she's a real artist. And she's one of those people that makes you feel like you are an artist. So when I've been here and we've played in the studio, just the gentle encouragement that she has around what you're doing, even though it looks completely naff. By the way, there's a band called Naff. I discovered this. Yeah, I don't know if they sound any good, but you might find that interesting. Yes, so even though you think it looks completely naff, she can pick up things about it that you just didn't see. So she really encourages that creativity, and I think that makes it an awesome conversation to have. And she started out doing marketing for newspapers, so I think there's a story there. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome to my abode.
Yes, and your wonderful studio, which I super am envious of. So the first question, or maybe even the first question I'm going to ask you is, what do you do? And describe it to me as if I'm 4. If I'm 4, I'd probably be like poking you and stuff. You're really annoying.
We have known each other for a really long time, so you probably would have actually. And you would be wearing odd socks.
Yes, I would be wearing odd socks.
You would be
correct.
wearing odd socks.
Yeah. I might bring that back, Flashback to the 80s, what do you reckon?
No, because the young peoples are doing it now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I know. I think I'm a creator of things.
Ooh, I
was
like
thinking
that.
about this when you said the questions. Because, yes, I am a teacher. I teach primary school, and you have to create programs for students.
Yep.
You have to create things around your own home, and hopefully I try and create things that I like, even if they just sit in my studio for the rest of their life. Or I rework them. I think I'm a creator of things. But I am a teacher. In primary school, I teach every subject.
Do you like teaching every subject?
Yeah, I do. There's always one subject that you think maybe that's not my favourite.
Yeah.
But there's parts of it that can be really interesting. You can find interesting parts about it.
Yeah.
Um,
and I think you can see that, like in even when we've been like in art galleries or in stores or whatever, you can kind of find the most interesting thing about something in that space, like the way somebody might have painted a mountain or a tree or something like that. And I think that you've got a unique ability to just be able to go, whoosh, look at that. That's really interesting the way that they've done that.
Honing on one thing.
Yeah. Well, not just one thing, but I think you bring it out, like you surface it, you expose it that might not have been as obvious before. I love that about you.
Thank you.
I love lots of things about you, but that's one of the things I love. So, how did you arrive here at this particular career junction in your life?
Being a teacher?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I just decided, okay, it's time to go to uni.
Yep.
After faffing around for 12 months. I think the kids call it a gap year now. But really what it was, I took 12 months off.
Yep.
And worked, earned money, did all sorts of things. From picking potatoes in the middle of winter to, just working on a factory line, working in kitchens, waitressing, doing whatever to earn money enough to send myself to uni, because my parents by that stage were retired.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put that burden onto them.
Oh, you're such a good daughter.
Oh, I know. And I don't know, I didn't give it a lot of thought. What was I going to do? And I think, look, teaching. Okay. Always thought, okay, I like kids, I'm good with kids, I'm interested in this, and this. I can do art, I can do reading.
Yeah.
All those things, all the things I love, you can cover. And I did. I went to uni. I was a year older than everyone in my class, apart from a couple that made you feel very ancient, because that year felt like a really long time.
Yep.
And there was a big difference between some of us, actually.
Yeah, okay.
From just that leaving school at 18 to, it was only a year. It's not like I was, the old woman in the group, but maybe there had a lot of growth happened in that year.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. And then when I came out, I moved to Armidale, where my husband was still studying, but wasn't my husband then.
Right.
And put my name down. I got some casual teaching. It was like, I actually need a steadier income than casual teaching. So I just applied for a job at the newspaper up there.
Oh, yeah.
To sell advertising. But I've never done this before.
Yeah.
But, got my dad's gift of the gab. And
I didn't get any gift of the gab. I think I lasted one night with telemarketing and I kept apologising. Oh, I'm so sorry. They've just given us a list of numbers and we just have to call them. I'm so sorry. I didn't realise this was private. I'm so sorry. The whole night. It was awful.
Yes, but telemarketing's not fun.
Oh, it was awful.
At all.
Yeah.
And look, it's not. I got the job. It was a big group interview and she gave us all this random item to sell. And I got a screw. And I sat there looking at it going, I tried. Anyway, somehow I got it. I pulled it out of somewhere because my dad used to tinker and build things.
Yeah.
And I it would help him. So I knew there was different sorts of screws and you could get caps to go over the top of them. And she kept asking me questions. What if I don't like the colour? And it was like, well, that's fine. We produce caps that can go over the top to match the colour of your timber or your paint. And it was, lo and behold, I got the job. So that was a relief.
Yeah.
And stayed there until we moved back down.
Yep.
Here, and again, I got some casual teaching, but I really needed a steadier income.
Yep.
So I applied for a job at the local newspaper, thinking, well, I've done this before, why can't I do it again?
Yeah.
And went into their advertising team there, and then went to their circulation and promotions department.
Right.
And then just did bits and pieces, but all of a sudden, once I had my kids, decided maybe it's time to go back. I haven't got to worry about finding childcare if I'm called in on a casual basis.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky to get taken on by a lovely school, a lovely principal
Yep.
that gave me a chance.
Nice.
And maybe saw that she believed more in me than I could because
Yeah.
I was so incredibly nervous, thinking, I don't think I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I volunteered and did things, and the beautiful librarian was very patient with me.
Oh,
And
we loved librarians.
And I know.
You and I are probably
long
weird.
live the geeks.
Exactly. The librarians liked us too because we actually were interested in their opinion.
I know. Still love the smell of library books.
Yeah.
And she was very patient, and she let me help her in her lessons till one morning I got a call to say, it's time. We've got a day for you.
Ooh.
Complete panic.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah.
I think I was about an hour early and nobody else was at the school.
Let me in.
So kids before the teachers got there. And look, I don't know if I did a good job that day or not, but
That's all something.
16 years later, I'm still turning up to the same school.
Yeah.
And I'm permanent now.
Yeah. So I think that says something.
Yeah.
And Eve, I've been with you in town when students that have you've taught years and years and years, like they're fully grown. Some of them even have children with them. And they still stop you,
really
apart from making you feel completely ancient. I love the fact that they make a point of stopping in their day to just say hello to you, and all the little ones as well that are terrified of me and hiding behind their parents, but are just like, it's Mrs. Chegwidden, I just have to say hello. Ms. Chegwidden, I have to say hello.
Ms. Chegwidden. I'm really lucky that it's a nice school.
Yeah.
And we've always had, not that other schools don't, but we've always had such beautiful children at this school.
I think that says a lot about the teacher, though, because I think that brings the best out in the children.
Hopefully. I would imagine not every child I've taught has thought, amazing, because, life.
Yeah.
But it's nice when you do meet the ones who are happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
It gives you a really nice balance.
Yeah. And as in the conversation that we're having with Fiona this morning, we've talked about teachers making a massive difference in people's lives. I remember my primary school teachers very fondly. The first ones to kind of encourage my little quirkiness, which was very quirky, and my love of 50 million questions. So from a very early age, just feeling like that's okay, you can do that. And then to Mr. Longhurst, who in high school, who was spent so much time. So I think they can make a massive impact, and I'm sure you've made a massive impact to many, 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 many students.
I hope so. I hope it's not all being, that was her. Yeah. See, my jam was the English department.
Yeah.
And the history department that made my heart sing.
Yeah. No.
And and love of literature and writing speeches and
this is a really nice story. Why do we have to now pull it apart?
Yeah, but wordsmiths are amazing.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it a lot more now, but at high school, it's like, whatever. How do I even know if I'm right or wrong here? This is just pathetic. And history I didn't like, but I think that's because it lined up that I had modern history and dates and crap that I had to remember.
It's all pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know. You really love it.
Who we are. Love history of anything, modern and ancient, and love wordsmiths. Yeah. My dad was a wordsmith, as you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next. Okay, so thank you for that trip down memory lane. Remember how awesome some teachers are. So one of the things that I want to ask you about now is, why do you do this? So why are you a teacher / artist?
It's really nice. I don't know if it answers why I'm a teacher.
Okay.
But I know when you are walking around a room and you're teaching, a lot of people think we sit somewhere when you're walking around the room.
Yeah.
And you get a light bulb moment, or you actually notice that they're loving the novel that you're reading and engaged in, and are working out how to use all the devices to their advantage and try and write like that too.
Yeah.
And then you look at the piece of writing that you've given them at the beginning, or they've produced at the beginning of the year, and even now halfway through the year, and you compare them and you go,
oh, awesome.
yeah, okay. All right, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And I know I focus on writing, because the literature part of it is probably my first love, and I love teaching art as well. But whether it's maths, teaching someone, okay, try looking at it this way. and you just see a light bulb go off and a smile over their face.
Yeah, nice.
There's all sorts of other things that go with teaching, but they're the things that make you keep walking around the room in amongst them, and
persisting.
Those little moments.
Do you get those often? Is it like a daily, weekly thing, or
they can be few and far between?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's, do we have to stop reading the book? Can you read a bit more?
Oh, wow, awesome.
It just depends on what you're doing. It can also depend on the cohort too that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Because you've got to pique their interest as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably that creator that you were talking about before, because you're creating like an interest for them as well. So by kind of tapping into that, tippy tapping.
I do tippy tap everywhere, as you know. I don't glump anywhere around the room.
What do you think it celebrates in the uniqueness about you, both of the teaching and the artistry?
Uniqueness. I don't know if I see myself as particularly unique in some way, but I think we all are unique in some way.
Yes.
Because I try and tell all the little faces in front of me we're all different, we need to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Maybe that is part of it, that celebrating uniqueness is really important.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had someone say to me once, it's a full theatrical show when they come into my room. I don't think I've maintained that as I get a little bit older.
A little bit of jazz hands, a little bit of tap dance, a little bit of tippy tappy.
It's more of a cruise. And you don't want to sound like dare I say, a wanker when you say that about yourself. But I don't know, maybe I'm not too afraid to be a little bit silly in front of the kids without losing the room.
Yeah, yeah.
Just sort of, it's okay, we're a bit different, or you talk about something that makes you a bit different.
Yeah.
And in terms of the art, I don't know. I think every artist puts their own uniqueness into their own canvas or paper or board or clay or whatever they make, because it's a bit of you going up there. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have it sitting over your left shoulder.
Yeah. Glaring at you.
Glaring at you. And it's... Yeah, uniqueness is hard to talk about with yourself. I think. Other people maybe have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Because it's... I don't know, I'm just me.
Yeah. One of the things that that might be an interesting question to ask you is, do you think the art is a choice or a compulsion? Like, is it something that you feel compelled to do rather than something that you're like, oh, I might just...
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. There are times when you have an idea in your head and you think, all right, I need to get up there and get that down on something.
Yep.
Even if it's just a sketch to come back to.
Yep.
And there are other times that you just think, I really need to be up into the art room. Why aren't I in the art room?
Yeah.
But when you do that, nothing good comes of it.
Right.
Because it's not a creative moment. But it's nice to have the time, you can put a music on or a podcast or listen to a book and just see what happens.
Yep.
With something, and that's when it's just this intuitive thing that happens.
Nice.
You might be the only thing that likes what comes out on the canvas when you do that. Though.
Yeah.
And that's just is what it is.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you. What about 3 pieces of career advice? Have you got any career advice to share with the kids out there?
I don't know. Could someone give me 3 pieces?
I know. Why do you think I asked the question?
What do I want to be when I grow up? I think, firstly, make sure you really like what you're doing.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Something my parents always said to me, and I've always held, is it doesn't matter what you do as long as you are the best you can be at it.
Right. Nice.
So they never judged what career path anyone wanted to take, although they did try and guide me away from taking lots of art subjects.
Yeah.
And I understand why, so that's not a criticism of them.
No.
It doesn't matter if you collect garbage. Just Just do it to the best of your ability and be the best you can.
Yeah.
And I would give that as advice to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Just give it your best.
Any others? Tucked away there?
Well, you do have to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't matter what career you have. There are moments you don't like.
Yeah.
There's always things you don't like. Admin's the pits.
Yeah.
Don't tell me anyone loves that side of it. I'm sorry if people like it.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anybody out there. But if the main part of your job is you really like, doesn't matter what it is, just make sure you find something in your job you like. And I was listening to something the other day, and I'm not going to name the actor who said it because I will get his name wrong.
Right.
And he basically said, I have decided to wake up and say, I get to do this today.
Oh, nice.
Instead of, I have to do this today.
Yeah.
So flipping it. And I like that, and I'm hanging on to that.
Yeah, nice. It's really cool. One of the things that about what you enjoy, one of the things that sparked in my head around that is recently we've ran an experiment in Cahoots called a Love Loathe. So 1 week you record all the things you loathe about your job, the next week you record all the things that you love about the job. And we asked the participants in that to then, what proportion of your week, do you love, what proportion of the week do you loathe, just to see.
Mm.
And it was kind of interesting because it was about 33% that they loathed and 67% that they loved. So like double the amount, which is kind of cool that love was more than that. So it was an interesting one just to kind of have some stats around it, because if you don't do that exercise, like I did it myself as well, and I'm like, I don't know, just until you do it, you sort of get a bit of a sense of it. Something that enjoyment is really cool.
I think there's always something about what you do that you just think, okay, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's life, and human beings are involved in life, and human beings aren't perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's interesting. Even if your job is, the only thing that you like about your job is the people you get to see when you go to your job.
Yeah, definitely. That can be sometimes what holds it together as well.
Mm.
All right, now I know this question is a terribly controversial question. Helen and I are massive music fans and would write our own songs.
Oh my God, they were terrible.
So bad. Like the worst you could ever imagine.
They were terrible. What were we thinking?
Oh, they were so bad. They were just terrible.
And I think it's just by the grace of God that they have gone in someone's bin now.
Yeah, I think so. We also had our own radio show on a local radio station called the Gorgon and Goover Show. So music is a theme that we've got. So this is a hard question to ask. So I'm creating an inspirational and motivational playlist, as you know. So what would be your 3?
Oh, stop it.
3 only.
I can't give you 3. I can give you 3,000. I cannot give you 3. So it is just too hard. It is mood-based. It is.
But this is inspirational. That's the mood.
I know, but there isn't
like
any
subtleties associated with that. Is that what you're saying?
I know. It will depend, and I can listen to blues and jazz. 80s is, there is no place where you cannot listen to good 80s music.
Yeah.
But I can't even say to you, who is your favourite artist? And again,
no,
I'll give you 3,000 artists.
In which genre are we talking?
And on what day would you like me to name that? You know U2's going to be there. You know the Pogues are going to be there. Depeche Mode's going to be in there. Don't bring me the Smiths.
Smith.
But even, do you remember at school, if you're going to say something about Fergal Sharkey, then you better say it to me. I wanted to have 2 hits.
Oh my gosh.
But even
good old Fergal Sharkey.
I know, but life in a northern town.
I know.
We had no idea what northern town.
No, it was just
Which
awesome.
northern town? What would it like being that northern town?
No, we don't care. The music sounds great.
No idea.
Sing along.
Loved it. One of my favourite songs, though, is "Trip Through Your Wire."
Yeah. That's
a banger. That is, if I'm driving somewhere on my own of any distance, that could be on. And that is one of the songs, if it is on and you start talking through it,
Like, excuse me.
I'll have to stop it.
Yeah.
Wait for you to finish what you're saying.
Back to the beginning.
And replay it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally relate.
Don't start talking through the harmonica bit. You know.
Yeah, that's just rude, basically.
I know, people don't do that.
No. So trip through your I've got one. Pretty excited. So we've got one out of you. I'm pretty excited. I didn't think I'd get any. So we've got one song. I'll just keep harping on you for the rest of the weekend until we get some more. And you'll end up, I know what will happen, you'll end up actually creating your own mini playlist and then sending it to me going,
have you seen my Spotify account? Have you seen my Spotify account? It's a hot mess. It's how my brain works. But then you have songs like Ella Fitzgerald's Strange Fruit.
Yeah.
Now, other people have sung that song.
Yeah.
It's just so haunting. It makes you sit down and just listen to it.
Yeah.
When you know the story behind it.
Yeah. It's quite terrible.
It is awful.
Yeah. And Billie Holiday does a version of that is very
yes, that's what I mean.
impactful.
Other people have sung it. And
it's just awful human nature. So we'll go back to Trip to the Wire. Okay. The last question that I've got, unless I find something fascinating that I want to ask you, is do you have like a quote, a book, a movie, or something like that you find inspiring? I find quotes, books, and movies inspiring. They kind of give me a different angle around things, so I like to share those with people. But is there anything that you'd like to share?
So
knowing that you've prepared.
Something I prepared earlier.
Oh, yeah, there is actually.
So there's two quotes, and we talked about this because growing up in high school, we were two weird nerds who liked the smell of old library books and dumb music.
Yeah, and the young ones.
And we still do the young ones quotes. You know, we clearly haven't grown up.
No.
But I always have liked, and lots of people use this, but there is nothing wrong with the quote, Oscar Wilde's quote, be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Yeah.
But I have to read this because I will not get it right if I just try and quote it.
Okay.
It's out of a Roald Dahl book, and I absolutely love the idea of it because it's about sincerity and finding real people, and that's how you find your tribe.
Yeah, nice.
And I also think my parents were this.
Yeah, okay. Glasses in place, clearing the throat. So it's the moment.
It is. It's out of Danny, Champion of the World. All right. I was glad my father was an eye smiler. It meant he never gave me a fake smile because it's impossible to make your eyes twinkle if you aren't feeling twinkly yourself. A mouth smile is different. You can fake a mouth smile anytime you want, simply by moving your lips. I've also learned that a real mouth smile always has an eye smile to go with it. So watch out, I say. When someone smiles at you, but his eyes only stay the same, it's sure to be funny.
Ooh, that is impactful, isn't it?
I absolutely love it. And that is a quote, that's Danny speaking. So he's only a little boy who lives with his father.
Wow.
But I love it because you can tell there's a lot in someone's face about who they are.
Yeah.
And their mannerisms and all that sort of thing. But you know, eye smilers.
Yeah.
That's a true smile.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're quite impactful, both of the quotes. I do like Oscar Wilde. I think he would have been an amazing character to get to know. So one of the other quotes that I love about his is the thing about common sense. It's just not that common. And he uses that quite a bit when people are like, oh, change management's so common sense. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, there's this story behind it as well. I want to ask you a question. My intuition is telling me, is there a question you would have liked me to ask you that I didn't?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know when you asked me to do this, I went, what do I have to offer?
Yeah, okay.
So I don't have something inside me going, I have all this to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I find that I find you inspiring. As you know, I think that your artwork is incredible. You as an individual, regardless of what you produce, is just joy to be around. So from the sides, we've had an additional question come through about what is the inspiration behind your artwork? Is there inspiration behind it? Is something that drives you?
So there's really amazing things around us. Whether I look out my window we look out over the vineyards here in the rolling hills, the winter sunsets are stunning.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But it's the shapes and patterns and colours in nature. So, you just don't have some rolling hills. Everything's shapes and colours and lines and, a hillside isn't green. There's purples in it, there's yellows in it, there's reds in it. So anything. And even when you travel, I don't take sketchbooks and things with me anymore because it just becomes really bulky. I just make sure I take lots of photos of the things that I like.
Yeah.
And then I'll refer back to them. So whatever I see is the inspiration. But it's always the rolling hills. There's always like a big moody sky. You look at the sky and you think, oh, look at there's colours in that.
Yeah.
And it could be grey and blue and it might look really heavy. Or the hills might just be the most amazing shape.
Yeah.
And that's what I take inspiration from.
Awesome. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Today. I know that you were like, no one's going to find this inspiring, but I absolutely know that they will because you are inspiring and you're an awesome individual. So some of the things that I've taken away from it is just following the path as it emerges and letting it be that way. And then knowing when the muse takes you, that you take that ride for as far as it goes and being you and uniquely representing that as you do the stuff that you do.
As much as possible. Because there are things in life that you can't just say, I'm going to take this wherever this takes me, because we all know life has its... I often say I have to keep my day job because that's what pays for things. My day job's I'm pretty lucky to have a good day job.
Yeah.
But you can't just say, I'm not going to make a living out of these things. Most of them just sit here in my studio. But as much as you can, just follow it.
And you might make a living out of it, but it's all completely okay for you to not do that. So it's completely okay for you to say, I get inspired by this and I'm going to produce it. And if it gets sold, that's awesome. And I also like being a teacher. That's completely okay as well.
Yeah.
I think the either or, you don't have to have that. You can just have both.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the other beautiful lessons I think that you teach is that it's okay to have a hybrid career. It's okay to have both of these things and for both of them to be as equally meaningful. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
Nice to sit with you.
I was pretty excited that I got one song out of Helen. I thought I'd get 0 songs out of the things to add to the inspirational, motivational playlist, but I got one. So I'm pretty excited about that because I knew that was going to be really tricky for her. It was tricky for me as well, but I knew it was going to be extra tricky for her. I love that Helen always pursues creativity despite obstacles, not really obstacles, but despite having to sort of live a life as well. So you need money to pay for food and for rent or for mortgages and any of that sort of stuff. So, but she always seems to find a way to carve out time to be creative, to be able to do that. And even in the work that she does as a teacher, if you saw how much effort and creativity she puts in creating the most amazing class plans for her students, there's creativity in that as well. I know that she will have inspired a lot of people to be creative in whichever way and wherever you can, so making sure that you can fit it around your life that you need to leave, but being able to be creative at your very core, so and expressing that in the way that suits you best. So thanks, Helen. I know that was going to be not the easiest to be interviewed by your friend, but I really appreciate it, and you inspire me every day.